I found a flashlight for only $20 that's supposed to deliver 1 million lumens. Well, let's get the testing underway and see if that flashlight is better than this flashlight, which cost $140. In the first test, we'll compare the brightness of the flashlights and then we'll see how hot they become. We'll see which flashlights come with high quality batteries. We'll also test flashlight durability. The least expensive brand we'll be testing costs $10 and is made by Bluecar. They claim it's a 2000 high lumen flashlight. The light is zoomable and it has an adjustable brightness. Built-in 1800 mAh battery can work for up to 16 hours. And the Blukar is made in China. Weight is sometimes an indicator of quality and the Blukar weighs 94 grams. The marks on the wall are 1 foot apart and the wall is 4 feet wide. And the Blukar has an adjustable lens that allows for a narrow intense beam or a broad less intense light. The broad beam has a few shadows but not bad for a $10 flashlight. A while back I spoke with a photometric device supplier and received a quote for $22,000 for a 20-inch integrating sphere. So I purchased this tester a while back and it performed well during the review on headlamps. The top number is the number of lumens, which is the total light output. The bottom number is candela, which is the light intensity measured in one spot using the headlamp's brightest beam of light. The candela is used to determine how far the light will broadcast or throw. More on that later in the video. And the Blukar started off at 141 lumen. At 30 seconds, the Blukar dropped to 133. After very close to 15 minutes, the Blukar dropped to around 100 lumen. After 15 minutes, the hottest spot on the Blukar is very close to 107 degrees Fahrenheit. For a $10 flashlight, the Blukar is actually doing a decent job for a medium beam. However, it just doesn't produce enough light to illuminate the tree 75 feet away without using the narrow focused beam. At a price of $20, is this ADDplus? They claim it delivers 990,000 lumen. Rechargeable LED magnetic flashlight with 9 modes. They claim it can illuminate objects up to 1,300 meters away. It's supposed to have a high capacity rechargeable battery that provides light for up to 12 hours. The ADDplus is made in China and is 204 grams for the ADDplus. The ADD also has an adjustable lens. It's producing a pretty intense light in the center and focus position. The spill, which is just outside the center, has rings and looks a lot like a bullseye. The quality of the broad beam is much more consistent. The ADDplus is about 6 times brighter than the Blukar at 901 lumen. It dropped to 863 at 30 seconds. However, that's about 989,000 short of its rating. After 15 minutes, 378 lumens. And the ADDplus is pretty hot at around 139 degrees. And the ADDplus is about 6 times brighter than the Blukar and is doing a much better job at lighting up the tree line 75 feet away. Also at a price of $20, the same price as the ADDplus is this WorkPro brand. It's an everyday carry mini tactical LED flashlight. It comes with a lithium battery as well as an alkaline. It has a zoomable adjustable focus. They claim it delivers 1200 lumens. And the WorkPro is made in China. And the WorkPro is pretty light at only 125 grams. And the WorkPro's adjustable lens in the focus position has a pretty bright hotspot and the spill really drops off. The broad beam is much more consistent. And the WorkPro seems to be performing about as well as the ADDplus with the medium beam width. However, the WorkPro just doesn't seem as bright with the wide beam. And the WorkPro advertises 1200 lumen and it started out at 822. The WorkPro actually became brighter at 30 seconds at 863. However, the WorkPro really dropped off sharply at 15 minutes at 256. And the WorkPro is warm to the touch at 123 degrees Fahrenheit. At a price of $24, is this Fixton brand. They claim a very impressive 1 million high lumens. The high beam is supposed to broadcast 3,280 feet. They claim it's equipped with one 6,000 mAh rechargeable battery. It even has a battery life indicator. And the Fixton is made in China. And the Fixton weighs 292 grams. And the Fixton has a narrow intense beam in the focus position and a broad less intense light with some shadows in the spill. And the Fixton is really short of its million lumen rating at 794. After 30 seconds, 696 lumens. Another pretty big drop by 15 minutes at 201 lumen. And the Fixton is pretty warm at 120 degrees. With the Fixton, the focused and medium beam look pretty good. However, the broad beam just isn't very bright. At a price of $27, is this Esgofo brand. Just like the Fixton, the Esgofo claims to deliver 1 million lumens. They say it can illuminate an object up to 3,280 feet away. And the Esgofo is made in China. And the Esgofo weighs 306 grams. The Esgofo also has a very narrow intense beam in the focus position. The broad beam looks the same as the Fixton's. And the Esgofo seems to be performing about the same as the Fixton for focus, medium, and broad beam. The Esgofo is also struggling with its million lumen rating at 588 and it dropped to around 558 at 30 seconds. At 15 minutes, only 119 lumen. And the Esgofo is cooler than most at 114 degrees. At a price of $28, is this Ikeeruic brand. It's a 5-mode LED flashlight. They claim a battery capacity of 3,000 mAh. They claim it delivers 990,000 lumen. They claim it can project up to 1,500 feet. They also claim high lumens can work for up to 12 hours on a fully charged battery. And the Ikeeruic is made in China. And it's 298 grams for the iCURIC. And the iCURIC seems the brightest yet for medium and broad beam. In the focus position, the iCURIC forms a square with an X. The quality of the beam seems just as good as the Esgofo. The Ikeeruic is by far the brightest yet at close to 1,506 lumen, but it dropped to 1,370 at around 30 seconds. At 15 minutes, the Ikeeruic is down to just over 300 lumen. And the iCURIC is very close to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. At a price of $32 is this Alifa brand. The Alifa brand claims to deliver 980,000 high lumens. They claim it's a super bright tactical flashlight. Instead of just one flashlight, this kit includes two. They claim the battery has a capacity of 10,000 milliamp hours, delivering 8 to 20 hours of use. They even claim you can cycle the battery 250,000 cycles. We're not going to test that. And the Alifa is made in China. And the Alifa weighs 246 grams. The Alifa has a very bright hotspot in the focus position with an outer ring. The broad beam does have an inner ring, but it still looks decent. And the Alifa just doesn't seem nearly as bright compared to the previous three brands. The Alifa is starting off at 664 lumen and dropped to 550 lumen at around 30 seconds. And the Alifa is down to 252 lumen at 15 minutes. The Alifa is pretty warm at 126 degrees. At a price of $33 is this Windfire brand. They claim it delivers 200,000 high lumen. It's supposed to project light up to 1,640 feet. It has a side light as well as 7 different modes. They claim IPX5 water resistant, Type-C rechargeable, and USB output. And the Windfire is made in China. And it's 296 grams for the Windfire. And the Windfire looks a lot like the iCURIC in the focus position, forming a square with an X in the center. The broad beam looks pretty consistent throughout. And the Windfire looks quite a bit better than the Alifa for focus, medium, and broad beam, and it also looks quite a bit brighter. The Windfire is by far the brightest, starting off at 2,293 lumen and only dropped to around 2,050 at 30 seconds. The Windfire is producing the most light at 15 minutes at 565 lumen. The hotspot on the Windfire is close to 124 degrees Fahrenheit. At a price of $34 is this Anker brand. Anker claims a super bright 900 lumens. It's supposed to project light up to 1,000 feet, up to 6 hours of light on medium beam mode. They claim their LEDs have an extended 50,000 hour lifespan. It's supposed to have a 3,200 milliamp hour rechargeable battery. And the Anker is made in China. The Anker weighs 224 grams. In the focus position, the Anker's hotspot is pretty large and the spill is a lot less bright. The broad beam has less light in the center. The Anker's medium beam forms a light ring with a not so bright center. And the Anker just isn't performing nearly as well as some of the other brands for illuminating the tree line. The Anker has an initial brightness of just under 1,300 lumen. At 30 seconds, 1,118 lumen. And 414 lumen at 15 minutes is actually better than average. And the Anker is about the same temperature as the Alifa and the Windfire at 126 degrees. At a price of $40 is this LK360. They claim it delivers 990,000 lumens. It's supposed to deliver light for 15 hours in low mode. 5 different modes include strong, medium, weak, strobe, and SOS. And the LK360 is made in China. And the LK360 is by far the heaviest yet at 459 grams. In the focus position, the hotspot is pretty intense. The broad beam looks a lot more consistent than the Anker. And the LK360 seems to be brighter than all the previous brands. Even with the broad focus, it's doing a great job of lighting up the tree line. The LK360 is by far the brightest so far at 2,573 lumen. After 30 seconds, the LK360 is at 2,105. And 558 lumen at 15 minutes is about the same as the Windfire. The LK360 is pretty hot at 137 degrees Fahrenheit. At a price of $40 is this Skyfire brand. And the Skyfire is supposed to produce 10,000 high lumens. They claim it can project light up to 5,000 feet away. It's supposed to have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It has 4 adjustable modes and a smart switch. It also comes with a battery level indicator. It does have a zoomable lens, made in China. And it's 376 grams for the Skyfire. The Skyfire has a pretty intense hotspot with several rings outside the hotspot in the focus position. The broad beam looks much more consistent. And the Skyfire isn't nearly as bright as the LK360. It takes a lot more focus beam to light up the tree line. The Skyfire has an initial brightness of 744 lumen that's down to 708 after 30 seconds. The Skyfire is very close to 400 lumen at 15 minutes. The Skyfire is pretty hot at 139 degrees. At a price of $50 is this Nebo brand. They claim it delivers up to 3,500 lumen. It has 4 different light modes and it includes a power bank for charging your smart devices. The battery is supposed to deliver 20 hours of operation. The battery is supposed to produce 4,500 milliamp hours, up to 2 hours in the highest light setting. And the Nebo is made in China. And the Nebo weighs 378 grams. The focus position on the Nebo appears to be very inconsistent in color, but the broad beam looks much better. And the Nebo appears to be even brighter than the LK360. Even the broad view is doing a great job of lighting up the tree line. And the Nebo is brighter than advertised at 4,399 lumens starting off, and still brighter than advertised at 30 seconds at 4,000 lumen. At 15 minutes, 930 lumen is the brightest so far. The Nebo is pretty warm at 125 degrees. At a price of $55 is this Coast brand. It's supposed to produce 4,500 lumens. It's supposed to have pure beam focusing optic. Shine 2 beams from 1 optic. It includes 5 different light modes. Just like most of the other brands, it does have a slide focus. And the Coast is made in China. And it's 360 grams for the Coast. In the focus position, the hotspot with the Coast isn't nearly as focused, but it does offer more spill than most of the other brands. The broad beam does look pretty consistent. The Coast hotspot is quite a bit brighter than the spill, and only the hotspot does a good job of illuminating the tree line. The Coast has an initial brightness of just over 1,900 lumen. After 30 seconds, 1,874 lumen. At 15 minutes, 552 lumen is better than average. And the Coast is cooler than most at 115 degrees. At a price of $79 is this NEXTORCH brand. It's supposed to produce 3,000 lumens. They claim it has a beam distance of 260 meters. The battery is rated for 4,800 milliamp hours. It comes with 10 different light modes. They claim it's 2 meters drop-proof and IPX7 waterproof. Made in China. And the NEXTORCH weighs 235 grams. The hotspot on the NEXTORCH is quite a bit brighter than the spill. The NEXTORCH just doesn't have a really broad beam like some of the other brands, but the hotspot is extremely bright and the spill is also more than adequate. And the NEXTORCH is the second brightest, starting off at 3,650 lumen and still pretty bright after 30 seconds at 3,612. And 741 lumen after 15 minutes is one of the brightest so far. And the NEXTORCH is one of the coolest yet at 107 degrees. At a price of $80 is this Fenix brand. It's supposed to produce 3,100 lumens. They claim it broadcasts light 284 yards. It comes with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It's rated for impact resistance up to 1.5 meters. And the Fenix is made in China. And the Fenix is pretty small and light at only 148 grams. And the Fenix has a very powerful focus beam and a pretty powerful broad beam as well. The Fenix is a very compact flashlight that delivers big flashlight brightness and then some. And the Fenix is brighter than advertised at 3,510 lumen. The Fenix dropped below its 3,100 lumen rating at 30 seconds to 2,673. At 15 minutes, 1,270 lumens is the brightest so far. The Fenix is by far the hottest yet at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. The hotspot is extremely bright compared to the spill. At a price of $107 is this Streamlight brand. They claim it's supposed to produce 2,000 lumens and have a 2.25 hour runtime. The battery is rated for 4,900 milliamp hours. Sliding sleeve protects a USB-C port. IP64 rated, dust tight and water resistant. Made in China. And it's 236 grams for the Streamlight. The spill with the Streamlight is a lot less intense than the hotspot. While the hotspot is not as bright compared to the Fenix, the spill is doing a much better job of lighting up the tree line. And the Streamlight is rated for 2,000 lumen and it has an initial brightness of 2,579. After 30 seconds, 2,507 is still better than advertised. And the Streamlight is the brightest yet at 15 minutes at 1,507 lumen. The Streamlight is pretty warm at 138 degrees Fahrenheit. At a price of $110 is this Nightcore brand. They claim it produces 6,500 lumen. It's supposed to throw a beam 437 yards. Fully charged in 1 hour and 15 minutes with the runtime of 61 hours on its low mode. It has 6 different brightness levels with digital display. And the Nightcore is made in China. And the Nightcore weighs 158 grams. In the focus position, the Nightcore offers a very consistent hotspot. The broad beam's hotspot is quite a bit brighter than the spill and there are some rings. The Nightcore is very tiny and incredibly bright with the turbo mode, which only lasts for a few seconds. In the regular light mode, the Nightcore's hotspot offers plenty of light, but the spill isn't quite bright enough. The Nightcore has a super bright mode that's limited to 15 seconds and 10,921 lumen is by far the brightest yet. Very impressive. On the brightest lasting light setting, 1,609 initial lumen and 1,563 after 30 seconds. 1,070 lumen after 15 minutes is pretty good. The Nightcore is pretty warm at 127 degrees. At a price of $120 is this ACEBEAM Defender P17. It's supposed to have a max light output of 4,900 lumens. The battery is supposed to deliver 5,100 milliamp hours. The maximum beam distance is supposed to be 445 meters. Made in China. The ACEBEAM weighs 233 grams. The spill on the ACEBEAM is a lot less intense than the hotspot. The ACEBEAM's light pattern looks a lot like the Fenix but has a very, very bright hotspot. However, there is a lot less light with the spill. And the ACEBEAM beat its 4,900 lumen rating initially at 5,119 lumen and just over 5,000 after 30 seconds. And 1,288 lumen after 15 minutes is one of the best yet. And the ACEBEAM is pretty warm at 134 degrees. At a price of $140, the most expensive flashlight we'll be testing is made by OLIGHT. It even includes a holster. They claim it has a max output of 4,600 lumens. It's supposed to have a max throw of 260 meters. They claim it's waterproof, IPX8 rated. The battery is rated for 5,000 milliamp hours. And the OLIGHT is made in China. And it's 207 grams for the OLIGHT. The OLIGHT has a very consistent hotspot and not much spill. And the OLIGHT offers a very, very bright hotspot that offers plenty of coverage compared to the ACEBEAM. And the OLIGHT is rated for 4,600 lumen and it performed better than advertised at 5,491 initially and 5,377 lumen after 30 seconds. And 1,347 lumen after 15 minutes is one of the best yet. The OLIGHT is close to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. So the OLIGHT produces the most light at 30 seconds at 5,377. The ACEBEAM performed almost as well at 5,002 and the Nebo third at 4,000. Most people need a flashlight that stays bright for more than 30 seconds and the Streamlight is the brightest at 15 minutes at just over 1,500 lumen. OLIGHT finished in second place at 1,347 and ACEBEAM third at 1,288. We can calculate the light throw using the brightest part of the beam, which will give us the candela measurement. To sell flashlights, marketers claim some really wild throw distances. They assume only 0.25 lux illumination. Assuming a much more realistic brightness of 10 lux, the Skyfire has the longest throw at 108.3 meters. The Esgofo finished in second place at 97.5 meters and Fixton third at 86.6. When it comes to battery capacity, just like a gas tank, more is definitely better. To test capacity, after fully charging all the flashlight batteries, I then used a tester to drain each of the batteries and keep track of the energy used. And the ADDplus is rated for 4,000 milliamp hours and it performed better than advertised at 4.393 amp hours or 4,393 milliamp hours. And the Alifa came up about 300 milliamp hours short of its 2,750 milliamp hour rating at 2,451. The Anker is rated for 3,000 milliamp hours and it beat its rating at 3,129. Some of the batteries were too large for the battery tester and I had to test them one at a time using a different tester. The Fixton is only rated for 6,000 milliamp hours and it came up way short at only 3,790. The Esgofo was also rated for 6,000 milliamp hours and it too came up short at only 3,730. The WorkPro is only rated for 1,200 milliamp hours and it performed a little bit better than advertised at 1,320. The iCURIC performed a little bit better than its 3,000 milliamp hour rating at 3,070. The Windfire is rated for 5,000 milliamp hours and it made it to 4,640. I didn't see a rating on the LK360, but it performed the best yet at 5,000 milliamp hours. And the Skyfire is rated for 5,000 and it performed better than this rating at 5,390 milliamp hours. The NEXTORCH has a rating of 4,800 and it produced 4,580 milliamp hours. And the Fenix came up quite a bit short of its rating at 4,370 milliamp hours. And the Streamlight is rated for 4,900 and it came up 420 milliamp hours short at 4,480. The ACEBEAM is rated for 5,100 milliamp hours and it came up short at 4,340. And the OLIGHT is rated for 5,000 milliamp hours and it came pretty close at 4,820. I didn't test the Blukar, Nebo, Coast, or Nightcore due to having an internal battery or the battery design. So the Skyfire finished in first place at 5,390 milliamp hours. The LK360 finished in second place at 5,000 and OLIGHT third at 4,820 milliamp hours. Energy capacity is one thing, but if you want a bright light, you'll need a battery with a lot of horsepower, or more appropriately, more current capacity. At 1 amp of current, the Skyfire has dropped from over 4 volts to 3.71, and at 2 amps, 3.48 volts. 3.18 volts at 3 amps is not good. That's only 10 watts of current. It's hard to produce a lot of light with only 10 watts. At 4 amps, the Skyfire has dropped below 3 volts and I'll have to end the test. I repeated this test for all the flashlights and the OLIGHT came out on top at 42.5 watts. The LK360, ADDplus, and ACEBEAM produced over 40 watts, which is pretty impressive. On the highest setting, the Bluecar, ADDplus, and Fenix lasted the longest at 5 hours of runtime. Several other brands lasted 4.5 hours. Battery capacity and light brightness have a huge impact on runtime. Once the flashlights were fully warmed up, I dropped the flashlights from a height of around 2 meters. 2 of the flashlights did power down from the impact, but they powered right up and are working just fine. None of the flashlights experienced catastrophic damage. So which flashlight is best? The left side of the scorecard is some basic information about each flashlight that is not included in the flashlight rankings. On the other hand, the right side of the scorecard includes the graded categories, and I've converted the raw scores into a 1st to 19th place ranking. And the OLIGHT came out on top with the best average finish of 5.3, but it is very expensive at a price of around $140. As you'd expect from a very bright flashlight, the OLIGHT just doesn't offer as much runtime as the flashlights that produce less light when on the highest setting. The ACEBEAM finished in second place with an average finish of 6.5. Just like the OLIGHT, the runtime on the highest light setting wasn't as good as some of the other brands, and it is pretty expensive at a price of around $120. The Fenix and Windfire tied for third place with an average finish of 6.8. Compared to the Windfire, the Fenix is quite a bit smaller and lighter as you'd expect from a tactical flashlight. However, for a price of $33, the Windfire seems like a great value and would definitely be my choice if you're not concerned about the size. Occasionally, it's good to mention that I do not work with manufacturers, I don't accept sponsorships, I don't even accept free products. I just want to make sure that these reviews are as unbiased as possible. All the videos in this channel, including this one, are viewer suggested, so if you have a video idea, I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching, please take care and look forward to next time.